You know, when you picture the ultimate dream of working for yourself, there's this very specific, almost cinematic image that comes to mind, right?
Oh, absolutely. The whole laptop on the beach thing.
Yes. Ultimate freedom, you're calling the shots, setting your own hours, sipping something out of a coconut.
Yeah, that's the dream everyone sold.
Right. But when you look at the actual data of what it takes to run a company of one, the reality often looks less like a beach vacation and more like, well, a frantic, never-ending game of whack-a-mole.
Yeah, the disconnect between that romanticized image and the dense daily operational reality it's just vast. I mean, when you're the only person in the building, you aren't just the CEO.
You're the janitor, right?
Exactly. You're the janitor, you're the marketing department, and you're the customer complaint hotline all at once.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. Welcome, everyone. We are taking a really hard look at the modern landscape of solopreneurship.
And it's a huge landscape now.
It is. There are over 16 million solopreneurs in the US right now. But here is the hidden data point that derails so many of them. And this blew my mind. Research shows that solo business owners often spend like 21 to 36% of their entire week just doing administrative tasks.
Which is wild when you think about it.
It's massive.
Mm.
So today, we're synthesizing a stack of fascinating materials for you. We've got an academic paper on artificial intelligence. We've got raw confessions from founders on Reddit, tactical playbooks. We're bringing it all together.
The mission here is really to figure out how independent creators can break past those traditional income ceilings and, reclaim their time without totally losing their minds.
Right, because that 36% of a work week spent on admin, that's time completely divorced from the actual value you're trying to provide.
Exactly. And before we can even talk about scaling a business to seven figures, we have to look at what breaks most solo businesses before they even really get off the ground.
And it's usually not a lack of market demand, is it?
No, not at all. It's the psychological toll of being always on.
Yeah, we saw this vividly in a Reddit thread we reviewed from a small business community. A solopreneur was describing this quiet, creeping exhaustion.
Oh, that post was heavy.
It really was. Because they pointed out that it isn't just the physical tiredness of like working a 12-hour day. It's the sheer mental weight of carrying every single operational function.
Right.
They said even on a so-called day off, they were constantly refreshing their phone, mentally plotting out next week's workload, just waiting for a disaster.
Yeah, and the research actually identifies a specific psychological mechanism driving this. They call it the reactivity pattern.
The reactivity pattern.
Right. When you operate alone, it's incredibly easy to fall into this continuous, unbroken loop. It's like stimulus, email, task, solve, rinse, and repeat.
You're just putting out fires all day.
Exactly. You never actually initiate strategy because your entire system just stays in reaction mode. In fact, there's data pulled from a workflow platform called Alfred that shows the average solopreneur checks their email 15 times a day.
Wait, 15? That completely fractures any chance of doing deep work.
Oh, totally. If you're checking your inbox every 30 minutes, you never sink into the hard tasks. You're just, skimming the surface of your own business.
Every single time you switch contexts to check a notification, you pay a cognitive penalty. Your brain takes time to refocus.
And an entrepreneurial support agency, Hub.Brussels, they recently analyzed burnout in this exact context. They frame it as a fundamental lack of reciprocity between effort and reward.
Which means what, practically?
Well, it doesn't just manifest as feeling tired. It shows up as actual physical signals. Solo founders report their breath getting noticeably shorter the exact moment a new message notification pops up.
Oh, wow. So a literal stress response to an email ping.
Exactly. Tight shoulders, severe decision fatigue, just from making hundreds of micro decisions alone all day long.
Okay, let me push back on this a bit, though. I mean, think about it like a video game where you have to simultaneously control the warrior, the healer, and the base builder. Eventually, you're going to drop the controller, right? But if I'm a one-person design shop or an independent consultant, and a client emails me because their website just crashed, I can't just ignore them.
Right. It feels impossible to step away.
Yeah, because I don't have a customer service department to hand the ticket off to. My business would tank if I wasn't reactive.
And that fear of the tanking business is the exact trap. I mean, it feels logical in the moment.
But it's not.
Well, the experiences shared by veteran founders in these communities suggest the solution isn't working harder or being infinitely responsive.
Hmm.
The solution is implementing really rigid boundaries to essentially retrain your own nervous system.
Like what kind of boundaries?
One founder talked about starting with just one sacred hour off on Sunday. One single hour where the phone was off, the laptop was closed, and they were completely unreachable.
I mean, 1 hour a win seems almost too small to make a dent in massive burnout.
It does seem small, but the goal of that first hour isn't to catch up on sleep. It's to prove to your own brain that the world will not end and your business will not instantly collapse if you disappear for 60 minutes.
Okay, so it's exposure therapy for workaholics.
Basically, yeah. And once you establish that baseline, you expand it. Another critical insight was the power of relentless time tracking. A founder tracked every minute of their day for a week and realized they were spending 12 hours a week on stuff like formatting invoices and sending scheduling links that could actually be automated in about 15 minutes.
12 hours! You're so busy putting out the fires that you don't realize you could just, like, reach over and turn off the gas line.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Even if you set those boundaries and start tracking your time, you hit another wall.
Right.
If you want to stop working 80-hour weeks, reclaiming your Sunday isn't enough on its own. You have to fundamentally restructure how you value your work. You have to change how you charge.
Oh, this is the pricing evolution part. This shift from the psychology of survival to the mechanics of scaling is where the data gets really compelling.
It really does.
Because we reviewed a playbook from Plutio, and it provides some staggering numbers. Solo operators using value-based pricing report a median income of $96,000. But for those who bill by the hour, that median drops to $58,000.
That is a massive gap.
A 66% gap just based on the pricing model alone.
And the playbook highlights the core reason for that gap. Researchers call it the efficiency penalty.
The efficiency penalty, break that down for us.
So, when you bill by the hour, you create a hard cap on your income. Realistically, after you account for all your admin, marketing, bookkeeping, a solopreneur only has about 1,000 to 1,200 billable hours a year.
Okay.
So if you charge $100 an hour, your absolute maximum ceiling, if you work at max capacity, is around $120,000.
Right. And the penalty part is the most insidious aspect of the hourly model because it actively disincentivizes you from mastering your craft. Exactly.
Let's say you're a graphic designer. You charge $100 an hour. It takes you 20 hours to design a logo. You make $2,000.
Simple math.
But then 2 years go by. You are vastly more skilled. You've built an incredible library of templates. Your intuition is sharper. Now you can deliver that exact same high-quality logo in just 8 hours.
And because you're billing hourly, you only make $800.
You literally get punished financially for getting faster and better at your job.
Yeah, you lose over $1,000 for being good at what you do. So the playbook outlines a clear progression to escape this. Hourly billing is entirely appropriate for beginners, right? When you start, you just don't have the data to know how long things take.
Sure, you're just guessing.
But after 10 or 20 projects, you move to project-based pricing. You estimate the time, add a 15 to 20% buffer for scope creep, and you charge a flat fee.
Which means if you get faster, your effective hourly rate goes up. You keep the upside. Exactly. Then the next step up is the retainer model, a fixed monthly fee. This is huge because 44% of freelancers face irregular, stressful cash flow. Retainers fix that.
They create a floor.
Right. But the absolute pinnacle is value-based pricing. This is where you completely sever the tie between your time and your fee. You charge based on the business outcome you deliver.
Let me put some concrete numbers to that just to make sure we're on the same page. Let's say you're hired to redesign the checkout flow for an e-commerce website.
Okay.
You analyze their traffic, and you realize your redesign will likely increase their online sales by $40,000 a year. If you charge them $15,000 for the project, that's an incredible ROI for them.
It's a steal.
Right. It doesn't matter if it took you 60 hours or 6 hours to write the code. They're paying for the $40,000 result, not your labor. So hourly billing is just renting out your time, but value-based pricing is taking a cut of the buried treasure you help the client find.
That's a great way to put it, taking a cut of the treasure.
Yeah. But, and here's where we get into the really fun stuff, even if you successfully make that transition, even if you charge 15 grand a project, you still only have 24 hours in a day.
You still have to do the work.
Right. You've fixed your income ceiling, but you've slammed right into a capacity wall. Since you aren't hiring a massive team of human employees, you have to fundamentally change what doing the work means.
Which brings us to the digital co-founder, the AI lean stack.
Yes. Here's where it gets really interesting.
We read this academic paper that explores this shift, and the researchers literally call these AI tools digital co-founders. They break the evolution of an AI-augmented solo business into 3 stages.
Walk us through those.
The first is imagination shaping. This is using generative AI to translate your messy, diffuse ideas into concrete, testable value propositions.
So instead of staring at a blank whiteboard for 3 days, you use AI as a brainstorming partner. You feed it your notes and it structures the offer.
Exactly. Then stage 2 is reality testing. This is where you use AI to rapidly build nano MVPs, minimum viable products.
Nano MVPs.
Yeah, so a nano MVP might just be using AI to generate the copy, the imagery, and the code for a simple landing page in 10 minutes. You put a buy button out there for a service that doesn't fully exist yet, just to see if real users click on it.
So low-cost experiments.
Right. And then stage 3 is reality scaling, where you stabilize those workflows through multi-agent orchestrations.
Okay, multi-agent orchestration sounds like you're conducting a symphony of robots in a sci-fi movie.
It does sound a bit intense.
But the like-to-byte playbook makes this so practical. The goal isn't to have 21 different software subscriptions. They warn against that. They call it tool sprawl.
Oh yeah, tool sprawl is a nightmare.
The goal is just 7 specific AI tools that literally replace distinct human roles in your company. And the cost to build this virtual team is like between $45 and $90 a month.
Let's break down those roles because the economics here are just wild.
First up is the chief of staff role. The playbook recommends Alfred for about $25 a month. It handles the whole communication layer. It reads your email, triages based on priority, drafts replies for you to approve, and pulls out action items into your to-do list.
Which, if you think about it, directly attacks that reactivity loop we talked about.
Exactly. You aren't checking your inbox 15 times a day because the AI is guarding the door. They estimate it recovers 5 to 8 hours a week.
Then you have the strategist and writer role. You can fill that with ChatGPT or Claude for $20 a month.
Right.
You can literally feed the AI a month's worth of customer support emails and ask it to identify the top 3 product pain points. It's doing the work of a junior data analyst.
And then there's the executive assistant role, right? Using a tool like Reclaim AI for $8.
Oh yeah, and Reclaim doesn't just act as a static calendar. It reads your tasks and automatically shifts your deep work blocks around.
So if a client books an urgent meeting at 2 p.m., the AI just automatically reschedules your design time to Thursday morning. It defends your capacity like a human would.
Add in Canva AI for $15 to replace routine design work, and QuickBooks Solopreneur for $20 to act as your bookkeeper, and you have a full staff.
But wait, doesn't adopting all these tools just create a brand new full-time job of managing software? I mean, I don't know how to write API connections. Trying to get 7 different AI platforms to talk to each other sounds like a nightmare for someone who just wants to design websites.
That's a super common trap.
Okay.
Honestly, it's the second biggest mistake solo founders make, right behind undercharging.
Okay, so how do you avoid it?
The like-to-byte playbook has a golden rule for the lean stack. Build 1 automation per week. Pace yourself. If you try to adopt 5 tools on a Monday, you're going to create fragile, complicated workflows that break by Tuesday.
And then you abandon all of them by Friday.
Exactly. You start with the 1 tool that saves you the most hours, usually your inbox or your calendar. You live with it for 2 weeks until it's seamless, and only then do you layer in the next tool.
Okay, so you build the automated army 1 soldier at a time.
Precisely.
So what does it look like when a solopreneur actually combines all of this? When they transition to value-based pricing, set strict boundaries, and build out this AI lean stack, what's the reality?
The reality is the $1 million company of one.
$1 million. 1 person.
Yeah. We looked at case studies from Starter Story, and they give incredible visibility into this. Look at Peter Levels. He generates over $50 million in total annual revenue across his projects.
$50 million?
Yeah. Nomad List does $1.5 million in annual recurring revenue. Remote does $2 million. And he operates all of this as a solo founder with 80% profit margins.
$50 million is so hard to wrap your head around if you're, like, just trying to hit $5,000 a month right now.
Sure, but the underlying mechanics are exactly the same. And what's fascinating about Peter Levels is his tech stack. He's not building complex, cutting-edge machine learning models himself.
What's he using?
He built his platforms using relatively simple foundational web languages from the early 2000s, like PHP and in MySQL.
Oh, wow.
The secret isn't complicated code. It's the relentless automation of every routine business process. That's what allows him to run massive platforms while living as a digital nomad. By the way, he also predicted there'd be 1 billion digital nomads by 2035.
That's incredible. And then you have Justin Welsh. He's a great example because he actually rebounded from severe executive burnout.
Right, he hit the wall hard.
He did. He completely restructured his life to build a $2.45 million a year lifestyle business. He doesn't do high-ticket consulting anymore. He sells low-cost, highly actionable digital products like a $150 course on content creation.
And to run a $2.5 million machine, he just relies on systems. He only uses a part-time virtual assistant for scheduling.
That's it. One VA. We also see this in the service sector, right? The agency of one model.
Yeah, Brett Williams runs Design Joy. He charges nearly $6,000 a month for a productized design subscription.
And he does that sequentially, right? One active request at a time.
Exactly. On the flip side, you have Lyndon Dueck of Mountain 13. He charges about $1,100 a month using a workbench model, which relies heavily on templates and AI to do parallel work on multiple client projects at once.
What I find so fascinating about these agency of one models is that radical transparency is actually their biggest asset.
How so?
Well, you'd think a solo operator charging $6,000 a month would want to hide behind a slick corporate logo, right? Pretend they have a team of 50 people in an office.
Fake it till you make it.
Right. But they don't. Clients know it's a solo shop. They know they're getting the founder's unfiltered, direct expertise. And that exclusivity allows them to charge premium rates. The lack of a massive team is a feature to the client, not a bug.
That's a great point. Transparency builds trust. When clients see that the expert's workflow is highly efficient, the perceived risk drops. They're happy to pay for the outcome.
We have covered so much ground today. For you listening, whether you're in the trenches right now or planning to launch, the overarching takeaway is that solopreneurship doesn't have to end in that burnout reactivity loop.
Absolutely not.
You don't have to be a hostage to your inbox. By shifting your pricing from hourly to value-based and employing a lean stack of AI tools as your digital co-founders, you can scale your revenue without scaling your working hours.
I really encourage everyone listening to take just 10 minutes today to audit your own day. Look at your workflow. What is your reactivity loop costing you right now?
Yeah, where are the leaks?
Exactly. What is the absolute smallest boundary you can set this week? Maybe it's just claiming that one sacred hour on a Sunday. Start there.
I want to leave you with a final lingering thought. This is inspired by that academic paper we discussed.
Oh, the identity stuff.
Yeah, because the research notes that a solo business is deeply tied to the founder's personal identity. Your business is an extension of your own mind. But as these AI agents become capable of doing not just 80%, but eventually 95 or 99% of the execution, what happens to your identity as a creator?
That's the real question.
When the machines are doing all the building, the drafting, the designing, do you remain an entrepreneur or do you just become a manager of algorithms?
It's a wild shift to think about.
It really is. Something to mull over until next time you feel like dropping the controller in that game of whack-a-mole. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.